welcome to today's lesson on pronouns. We will be identifying pronouns by their function. We'll be introducing different types of pronouns. We're going to be looking at keywords that some of these you should know already, things like pronouns, possessive pronouns, nouns, noun phrases, and personal pronouns. So let's have a look at today's focus text. A man was walking along a country lane when he saw something on the ground, a handful of sparkling beads. He picked them up. Well, look at these, he said to himself. Someone must have dropped them. He saw an old lady ahead of him, and he thought he would ask if they were hers. This piece of text is probably from a folk tale. It looks like that sort of thing. It kind of reminds me of Jack and the Beanstalk, where they find something and maybe some magic will happen. So it's some sort of folk tale. Our lesson today, though, is really focused on all those words that we have highlighted in green. And we're thinking about what type of words they are. So we're looking at pronouns today. Pronouns are words that take the place of nouns or noun phrases to avoid repetition. Without pronouns, the text would be very different. We would have a man was walking along a country lane when a man saw a handful of sparkling beads on the ground. A handful of sparkling beads. The man picked a handful of sparkling beads up. Well, look at this handful of sparkling beads, the man said to the man. And you can see how that doesn't quite sound right, does it? This repetition. So our pronouns take the place of nouns or noun phrases to avoid this repetition. So let's have a look now at what some of these pronouns refer to. We need to be able to identify as a reader what noun or what noun phrase each pronoun is referring to. And that's something that's part of the skills that you develop as a reader. There are different types of pronoun. Some of these are used in our focus text. For example, there are personal pronouns, which are the ones we use most frequently. So for example, we got words like he, she, they, him, her, them. There are also possessive pronouns. They show ownership of something. So for example, you have mine, yours, theirs. In our focus text, we have an example of a possessive pronoun. Can you spot it? Pause the video while you try and find it. That's right. It's hers. It means that it belongs to the old lady. Puddock knows there are other types of pronoun. So let's have a look at some of those. Our text also includes two new types of pronoun. They are reflexive pronouns and indefinite pronouns. Reflexive pronouns. Now these are pronouns which refer back to the subject. And we've got the example in our focus text of himself. So in that sentence, it says, well, look at these. He said to himself. So himself is referring back to he, same person. So it's a reflexive pronoun. We've also got in this passage as well, we've got some indefinite pronouns. Now an indefinite pronoun is it refers to something or someone that we don't really know yet. They have not been introduced in the passage yet. They do later on, but at the moment they haven't been introduced yet. So let's have a look at those two. The two examples we got are something and someone. So we've got something. So I'll read this from the beginning because you can then see that we don't know at that point who it is or what it is. So a man was walking along a country lane when he saw something on the ground. Hasn't told us yet what that something is. And because it hasn't told us yet, it's an indefinite pronoun. Now, in the next few words, it does tell us what that something is, but it doesn't matter. If it comes after it that we find out, it's then an indefinite pronoun. So, a man was walking along a country lane when he saw something, we don't know what it is yet, on the ground. A handful of sparkling beads. Tells us now, doesn't matter. It's still an indefinite pronoun. The other one we have is the word someone later on in the passage, and I've highlighted that in red as well. And at that point, we don't know who this someone is because he's found these beads and he's talking to himself about who it belongs to. And he says, someone must have dropped them. We don't know who it is. He saw an old lady ahead of him and he thought he would ask if they were hers. Now, they might be hers, but again, even in this whole passage, we don't know yet who it is. So if you've got a pronoun and it hasn't told you yet what that pronoun is referring to, it is an indefinite pronoun.